Yeah, I'll just give a brief overview of forms again because Tyageshwar is trying to set up some of other things. Okay, so so you can go to a new browser tab. You can directly type forms.google.com. It will take you to forms.google.com. But when you're doing this, check with which account you are doing it. So I can see here I'm doing it with cpdumt.nitw@gmail.com, which we are using it for the training purpose. Okay, so it's okay. Let's say if you are opening multiple tabs, I will show that also. Like you can see there are other Gmails which are signed in. So let's say this is not the correct account that you want to use, then you should actually change the account. Okay, then it will say one. One means the second account in the or a second account which got logged in this browser. Okay, so this is the zero account which is cpdmt. This is first account which is my personal account. Okay, now how to create a quiz in this Moodle? Okay, in this Google Forms. Okay, I'll first go for a blank form. Okay, so you can see a blank form is created. Okay, so first thing is eh, it's always good that we add something related to the quiz. So I'll say this is quiz for classroom. Okay, and the same thing you can save it as the title. Okay, it gets reflected here. Second thing is we have to do the setting changes. In the settings, you'll go to the quiz options. You'll say make this as a quiz. When you make this as a quiz, it will say you want to release the grades immediately after submission. No, I don't want to do it because if I am conducting an exam from 9 to 10, let's say the topper is completing between 9 to 9:30, he'll immediately get the grades and he'll also know what are the correct answers. Then he might share it with his fellow students. Okay. So what I'll say is later after manual review and respondent can see missed questions, correct answers, point values. I don't want to display these to them. I'll just say point values only. Okay, then I'll say save. So when you enable this quiz option, when you say it as a make this as a quiz, under the general tab, collect email address is enabled automatically. Okay, collect email address is enabled automatically. And there is one more option, requires sign in limit to one response. Exam, we should give only one attempt. So we should say that limit to one response. And respondents can edit after submit, see summary charts and text responses. Since this is not a registration form, so I don't want to send a edit option nor a summary chart. This is a quiz. Okay, and you need to tell to your students that if they're registered with this Google Classroom with some email ID like cpdumt.nitw@gmail.com, then while attempting this quiz, he should use only that email ID. Only then it gets reflected in the classroom portal. Again, during this exam, if you write some other email ID here, then what will happen is it will not get assigned to your name. Okay, it cannot assign it to your name. So now coming to the question types. Okay, now first let me complete the other look and feel. So once your classroom is set up, you made it as a quiz. You have done that only one response is allowed. Feedback is not given immediately and all those done. Next, you can customize the theme here. So beside the setting, you have a preview and then you have a customized theme. So in customized theme, you can always add a beautiful header. So I'll say choose header. You can use this inbuilt headers like this, or let's say since it is an exam, I'll use this last one as an insert. Okay, something related to exam, pen, paper, pencil. Okay, along with some refreshments over here. So I'll say okay. Now let's add a question. So by default, one question will be added to the template. So this question type is multiple choice. Okay. So you can choose any other question type also. Okay, I'll say, let's say you want to add along with email ID, you want to collect some more thing. I'll say short answer. I'll say student name. I'll say I need this information. It is required. Okay, but there is no marks assigned to this. There's no marks for writing his name, right? So we'll say no marks. Next, you'll add a new question, which is shown here with a plus sign. Okay, now what do you need? We need his roll number. Okay, we'll say roll number. And roll number is again a required quantity, and it will search for number. It is number, or it should be a whole number, or it could be a mix of text and other thing, or you want to regular expression which should contain some particular pattern, or it should match to a particular type of text. You can do all this. Let's say it's a regular number kind of thing. Okay, and we'll say it is number. Okay, so second question is also done. So this is basic information. Email, student name, roll number is a basic information. Okay, now this is different, and his exam paper is different. So what we'll do is, at this point, we'll add a section. So when you add a section, you can title the section. You'll say this section as question paper. Okay. We'll say this as question paper. Okay, then you'll add a new question to this. Okay, by default, whenever you add a question, it is of the type multiple choice. Here, what you'll do is, okay, let's say I'll start with a multiple choice question. So the question is the CPDOMT program useful to you? Okay. So when depending on the question, sometimes Google will give you suggestions. Okay, there may be a case where you might type some technical question here, and by default Google is giving you suggestions. That means if the student is copying this and pasting it in the browser, he will get the answer directly. So I suggest always be attentive while typing the questions here. Okay, so I'll say, okay, I want to say yes and no. I'll not give this ambiguous thing, maybe. Okay, either it should be yes or no. Okay, I'll say, okay, since in a question paper required, it is up to the student, right, which question you want to attempt and which he wants to leave. So I'll leave it. And then you have this option whether you want to shuffle the order. There is no need to shuffle between yes and no. So I will leave it. But answer key I'll enable. I'll say 1 mark, and I'll select the correct answer. Yes, CPDMT program is useful to you. So if you give yes, then you'll get 1. If you say no, then you'll get 0. Okay, then I'll say done. I'll add one more question. Let's say I'll add a short answer question. Which app in Suite is equivalent to a learning management system? Okay. You can see here when I said which app in G Suite is equivalent to a learning management system, it is giving me this answer, Google Classroom. That means if I copy this question, like in exam, okay, student can copy this textual question. He'll go to the browser, he'll paste it here, he'll click enter, he'll get the answer. Yes, the learning management system is Google. Okay. Google Classroom is a learning management system. So you need to be very careful while typing the questions. Okay, now how to evaluate these kind of questions. So you can go to answer key, you'll say 1 mark. Okay, you'll give the correct answer. Okay, you'll say, I'll say classroom. I need not mention Google in front of it. I'll say classroom. But what will happen? Sometimes student will say, they'll say Google Classroom also. So this could also be a correct answer. Or they can write the short form G Classroom. could happen that someone will write this. Okay. So then you'll say mark all other answers incorrect. Okay. Then you'll say done. Okay. So these are the correct answers. So we gave question one, which is MCQ, question two, which is short answer. Now let's add another type of question. Here now I'll add, instead of this textual question, what I'll do is to make searching of these answers difficult, what I'll do is I'll prepare a question which is in the form of an image. Okay. So once you create this add question type, let's say it could be a multiple choice or it could be a short answer. It could be any type of question. You can always add a image over here. Okay. So I'll say it is MCQ. I'll click on this image. Okay. I'll say upload. I'll say browse. I'll go to my system. I'll go to a course where I created some questions. Okay, where are it? Okay, so under duties, 1920, there's summer quarters. Just give me a second. Just a second. I created. Just give me a minute. I just forgot where I kept my questions. Naresh, check the chat box first. Raise a question. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm still searching for the materials. Okay, maybe okay. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll show you how to create that image based question. Okay, so I have some series of questions with me. Okay, okay, so let's say this is a question which I want to ask the student. Okay, this is a question, but if I ask this directly, then they'll search this in web and they'll say that they'll easily find the answer. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to snip tool. So in Windows you'll have the snipping tool. Okay, I'll go to snip. I'll say new. Then I'll crop this part. Okay, so I'm taking this image. Okay, now I'll say sorry, new. Okay, I'll say save Control S. On desktop I'll save it. Next one. Okay, So now the question is saved. So I'll go back to my browser. Okay, I'll click this image. I'll go to browse. I'll go to desktop. Then I'll say test one. Okay, open. Okay, so now you can see the question is in form of an image. How will student copy this question and paste it in the browser? It is not possible. Okay, so now I'll give the options. So option one is 101. So option one is 101. Option two 001. Another option three 111. Option 4 011. You can see this option 4 is the correct answer. So just just remember it. So this is option 4. Okay, now we'll say shuffle order on. Okay, and we'll say answer key 1 mark. I'll say the fourth one. Done. Okay, so we created one multiple choice question. We created a short answer question, and we created one image based question so that student will find difficulty in searching this question in the internet. Okay, so you can do you can actually paste all the questions as images like this. Okay, and let me go to one last setting, which is in the settings here under the quiz. There should be shuffle order. Okay, so under presentation you have show progress bar, show shuffle question order. Okay, so when you enable these two, what will happen is you'll get the progress bar, like you completed one part of this exam, you completed the second section, and then inside an individual section you are shuffling the questions. Okay, so I'll say save. Now let's see how this will look when you share it with a student. So at the top you can find this preview option. I'll click on this. So you can see this is how the student will see it. Okay, so first name, okay, it's my email ID. So I'll say SATSHM. I'll come down, then it will say, no, this is wrong. The reason is email ID should contain something like @something.something.com. Okay. Next, student name, if I fill it numbers, it will take because it is part of text characters. Okay, so he should fill his name like I'm Satish. Let's say my roll number 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you can see the progress bar. I've completed. I'm in the first part. Okay, and I've filled it. Okay, I'll say next. So in this, since this is a preview, I'm getting all the questions in the same order. But if it was other thing, then you'll not get it in the same order. So I'll say S here. I'll say this one. See, questions got shuffled here. What app is in G Suite is equivalent to learning management system? This was second question, but now it is the third question. Okay, so I'll say classroom. And for this one, the answer is 011 and this one is yes. Okay, then I'll say submit. So it's done. Your response has been recorded. So how to see the response now? I'll go to quiz for classroom. You can see the response has become 1. Okay, so what is the average score in the class? It is 3 out of 3 because only one student attempted. And what is the median? 3 out of 3. What is the range? 3 to 3. Okay, and this candidate got score of 3. Fine. So at the end, you can just open this Excel. You'll say create a new spreadsheet. You'll say create. And you can see, okay, this Satish, he has attempted, he got 3 out of 3. These two are the columns that you need, right? Okay, so this is about Google form for quiz. If you have a query, then you can ask me now. Yes.
Sir, one query.
Yes, yes.
Like, how you have from the quiz form? How you went to the That gradings list, which how you did you go to that page? List
Yeah,
the
okay.
list list
Yeah,
of grades.
okay. See, once you create this form here,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
and you do the settings here, okay,
Uh,
general settings, presentation settings, quiz settings, okay. After doing all this, you will do the save, okay, and you want first you'll share this with students, right?
yeah.
Okay. So before sharing with student, what you should do is you should go to this responses option.
Mm.
Okay. Here you should say stop accepting response. The
Okay,
reason is if you share it without doing this, before the start of exam, student can see all the questions.
okay, okay.
I'll show you that. I'll show you that. Okay. So I'll do this not accepting responses. I'll say go to send. Okay. Then I'll say send this to student. I'll give my email ID satish@nitw. Okay. I have invited to fill out a form. I'll say it's not a form. I invited you to attempt the exam. Okay.
Mm.
Attempt the exam. And you can include form in email, which is not required. Then you'll say send. Okay. Or if you want to send it in a group, then you'll go to this option, link option. You'll say shorten URL. You can copy this link and send it in groups or send it through mail. So I'll open another browser where I'm not logged in as CPDUMT. I'll open this. So when I open it, is saying quiz for classroom. The form quiz for classroom is no longer accepting responses because I did not enable it. So let's say at 12, I will enable it. So we will not wait, but I'll enable it immediately. After enabling, I'll come here. I'll refresh the page again. It'll give the link before only, but you'll refresh it. You'll ask the student to refresh it correct time. So once they refresh, they'll get these things. Okay. So I'll start filling something over here.
And then their
Yeah, I'll
marks.
show you that. Okay, I'll just fill it again and I'll go to the marks. Okay, I'll say new. Okay, now here, see, the question orders are modified in the second section. Now this has become first. In this, the answers order also got modified. Okay, yeah.
Modified,
Here
yes.
I'll say class. Instead of classroom, I'll say class. I'll say yes. I'll say submit. Okay, your response has been recorded. Let's say he is a very intelligent student. He will say that I'll try to reattempt again. Okay, I'll paste it. It will say you have already responded. You can fill out this form only once because in the settings I enabled only one attempt is allowed. Okay, and
Yes.
I'll show you one thing that is which we created for our exams recently. I think this is a DSP lab exam. Okay, so there we are supposed to ask them questions. So what we did is, even though the question is a textual question, we converted that text into image, which I've shown you earlier using the snip tool. Now student cannot copy this question and search in Google. Okay, so he'll never find the
Okay,
answers.
okay.
So all the questions we gave as images. Every question we made as
Okay.
a image. It became really difficult. And what you can see is the responses. This was only for few students. So you can see out of 30 marks, the average is 12. But if I would have given
Okay.
text option, the average would have been around 23 or 24 because they can easily search and find the answer. But now it's difficult. They cannot type it in another browser and find the answers. Okay. So this is one thing that you can always use to make the life difficult for your students. Okay. So let's say once all the attempts are done, okay, I'll go back to the responses part. So in this Google form, beside questions, you have responses. Okay. You can see the individual responses here. And you can also see question-wise response. So question-wise response, what it will say. So I'll go to the second section. Okay, so it will say, okay, this first question, 2 students have responded correctly. Okay. And this question, only one responded correctly, the other one gave it wrong. Okay.
Right.
Okay. If you want to check individual responses, you can go to this individual. So this is student 1 complete response. Okay. So first one is correct, second is correct, third is also correct. I'll go to the
So
second student.
all these are able to be seen in the response section.
Response section. Okay.
Fine.
So you can see the second student, first question is correct, but second is wrong. Okay. But let's say you want to manually correct it, you can actually say that even though like someone might do spelling mistake, classroom he might type it wrongly. So you'll say, okay, it's okay. I'll give him 1 mark because of doubt. Okay. Okay. Then you'll say 1 mark, then you can do this save option. So then what will happen? His marks will get updated. So this is manual. Let's say some students say that, sir, by mistake I typed wrong word or something. Then we can do this manual. Okay. And once this is done, there is a green plus symbol over here. If you click it, it will open all your response in a sheet. Okay. First time it will ask to create. After that, it will open directly.
Fine.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you. There is one more thing like
Sir, how about the short answer question? Say answer is in 2-3 lines. How do we evaluate?
That you have to evaluate manually, sir. There's no other way.
Okay.
Okay. I'll show you one more thing. Like, okay, I gave an assignment to students. Okay. So this is one assignment which we gave to the students. So in this, I split the questions again in images only, so that it will be difficult for them to find these questions in Google search. Then I'm saying they have to submit PDF. Okay. And it is for 4 marks. There is no way to manually automatically correct the PDF submissions, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to response. You can see 226 students have submitted it. So what we do is I'll go to summary. In summary, or I'll actually go to individual responses. I'll go to individual. I'll say this is student 1 response. Okay. So this is question 1. This is his submission. Okay. I'll click it. I'll get his PDF over here. It's just checking. Okay. So I'll see, okay, the student has written some things. Okay. CECC is written. Something about differentiability is written. And this sum, she has done it wrongly. Okay. So I'll come here. I'll say, okay, I'll give only 1 out of 4 marks. Okay. We like 6 teachers have corrected this paper. So each teacher corrected only single question. So that they are uniform throughout all the 200 or 300 students. Okay. So they are correcting only one question. They can easily check what he is expecting and what students are writing and give the marks here. So for one question, they got 1 mark, second question 3, third 3.5, fourth is 3, so on. And finally, you can see what's the total that he got. He got around 10.5 out of 20. Okay. So I can show you the summary. An assignment where student got 24 hours time to solve it, the average is only 11.5 out of 20. Because here I have digital copies, I can check who has copied from which student. All those things are clearly, we can easily identify them. Okay. So you need to be very careful because students are very smart. So we need to be more smarter than them. Okay.
So here I have a small doubt.
Yeah.
The import option is there now. You can import questions from other forms.
Import questions from?
Yes, sir. Other forms.
And I suggest, I never did it because I never checked it. I don't know. Do you have import question? I don't see any import question.
Here it is there now in the right side corner of plus option is there now. Add question.
Yeah, import questions. Yeah. So you can go to the previous form and then open it. Yes, you can do it.
Yeah, and whether these questions which are you have copied from script to know whether those can be copied or not.
See, this is the import question form. In this, you want to import some specific question, you can scroll down. So let's say I want to copy this question 4. I'll select it. I'll say the import questions. Okay. Then you'll get that question over here. You'll say restore or missing file folder. Then okay, you'll be able to restore the question here.
Okay, fine.
Okay, then I'll stop here because Chagesh is waiting. I think that clarified a lot of doubts on how to use Google Form effectively. Right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll hand over it to Dr. Chageshwar.
Okay, thank you, Satish.